and subscribe, bitch. We've got Mr. Not compensating for anything in this part and the wave mission. Let's get into it. Ah, my precious Tora. I missed you so much, the wife of the fire daimyo, Madame Shijimi, yelled as she hugged her cat tightly in the mission's office, despite the cat looking like it was choking to death. Not gonna make that joke. You had me so worried, my little baby. No wonder it ran away, Naruto muttered, 3 scratches across the bridge of his nose and many more on his hands. Sasuke had 3 on his cheek, 3 on his neck, and about as many on his hands as Naruto. I would too. Huh. Kinda makes you pity it, Hinata mumbled softly, having no scratches on her. Now, Kakashi's Team 7, the 3rd Hokage said as he was looking over the documents in front of him. Your next duty is, babysitting an elder's grandson, shopping in a neighboring village, and helping with the potato digging. You can also... I'm gonna stop you right there, old man, Naruto said suddenly. Everyone save for his team stared at him in utter shock for daring to interrupt the Hokage. You and I both know what this team is capable of. We shouldn't be doing this crap. I agree, Sasuke said, crossing his arms. I think this is an incredibly waste of valuable resources. After all, besides team training, coming up with strategies and combinations, all they had been doing since graduating was D-ranked missions. You idiots, Iruka barked, sitting next to the 3rd Hokage, who just sighed. You're just rookies. Everyone starts off with the simple duties and works their way up. I don't give a crap. We're not everyone, Naruto barked back. We got these crappy missions I wouldn't even force academy students to do. This is not ninja work. Suddenly, Kakashi's first fist bopped Naruto on the head, accompanied by the Jonin saying, Quiet you. Naruto, it seems I have to explain to you what these duties are all about, the 3rd Hokage said, puffing on his pipe. Listen, every day, we got all kinds of requests from people, ranging from babysitting to the assassination. We rank the missions, and blah blah blah, Naruto said, his arms crossed. What you've told us the Genin get both D and C ranked missions. I know we're fresh out of the academy, but you know as well as I do, we can handle a C rank mission. Right, guys? I think so. I apologize, Kakashi mumbled, scratching the back of his head in embarrassment. The 3rd Hokage however looked thoughtful and hummed while puffing on his pipe. He interlaced his fingers in front of his face and smirked. Very well. If you want it that much, I'll give you a C rank, and we'll see how you do. It's a protection of a certain individual, the 3rd Hokage announced, which visibly surprised Kakashi and Hinata, while Naruto and Sasuke smirked. I'll introduce the client now. Hey, will you come in here? The door to the mission office slid open, revealing an old man who, judging by the scars on his hands, must have been a carpenter or something like that. In his hands was a sake bottle, and he took a swig from it as he looked them over. What's this? They're a bunch of super brats, the man said, a drunken blush on his face. Especially the girl. She looks like she couldn't hurt a fly. Are you really a ninja? Hinata flinched and ducked her head. Seeing that she wasn't about to give a retort, Naruto and Sasuke came to her defense, glaring heatedly at him. Quick, forcefully tells Bath. You 5 times over before you could even blink. You old man, Sasuke said coldly, and Naruto looked at Kakashi. Can we show him, sensei? Forcefully tells Bath. The person we're supposed to protect would cause us to fail the mission, Kakashi said simply. But Naruto didn't need to show him. They had gotten their point across, judging by how the old man barely suppressed a flinch. He coughed into his fist. Anyways, I am Tazuna, the Super Bridge Builder. I expect you to provide me super protection until I get back to my country and complete the bridge. And so later found Naruto, Sasuke, and Hinata walking towards the East Konoha gate, packed and ready. Naruto and Sasuke had everything in a scroll each, and Naruto sealed Hinata's pack into another one, so she didn't have to carry anything. This is a C rank, so the worst we might face is bandits, Sasuke said as they walked. However, I want none of you to let your guard down. Keep your senses sharp for anything out of the norm. Hinata? Hinata jumped at being addressed directly, and quickly answered with a yes. During our journey to the Wave Country, I want you to activate your Byakugan at regular intervals and scout the surrounding area. Alright, Naruto. Huh? Naruto uttered, raising an eyebrow. I don't want you to go lazy and stop molding chakra. I want you sensing the entire time. Your sensing ability is the best I've ever seen, and it doesn't eat more chakra than it takes for you to regenerate, so you can't complain about that. Don't slack off. Keep sensing. Yeah. You got in some kind of captain position or something. Getting a bit ahead of yourself, aren't you, Sasuke? The Hokage is the leader of the village. I need training, Sasuke said simply, which made Naruto twitch. Yeah, right. The one who's gonna be Hokage is me. In your dreams, maybe. Why, you... I think you both have a good chance of becoming Hokage, Hinata mumbled softly, which caused the two getting to stop glaring at each other instead of turning their head to look at her. Hinata looked a bit startled to be getting so much attention, but gulped and continued. You both have such strength despite your young age, and both of you have unique sets of leadership skills. Sasuke, I think Naruto has just as good a chance as you. Hinata finished, now ducking her head as though expecting Sasuke to react unfavorably to what she had just said. Therefore, he without doubt surprised her when he just gave a soft laugh of amusement. Of course, he said, crossing his arms. He wouldn't be worthy of being my rival if he couldn't keep up with me after all. But thanks for those kind words, Hinata, Naruto said it with a grin, slinging an arm around her shoulder. Seriously though, we need to do something about this shyness of yours, don't you think? I'm not shy, Hinata mumbled, beet red, having Naruto... This is just weird wording. Anyways, you're gonna try to convince me that fish can fly too, Naruto said, still grinning widely. He flashed her a thumbs up. Don't worry though, stick with us and in a couple weeks you'll either be a happy-go-lucky jokester like me or a cool brooding type like Sasuke. Go with the jokester path though, one Sasuke's enough. Oi, are you saying I'm annoying? Sasuke asked with a slight glare. Not at all, Sasuke. Funny how you would jump to that conclusion though. Why, you... Hinata giggled softly at their antics, which made Naruto grin wider. They rendezvoused with Kakashi and Tazuna at the gate and then set off towards Wave Country. As Sasuke had suggested, Naruto started molding chakra and sped out his senses the second they left Konoha. And it was a good thing he did, because he immediately picked up on two chakra sources in the trees to their left. He glanced at Sasuke, who caught his eye. They had long since reached a point where they could tell what the other was trying to tell them from simply looking into each other's eyes. Sasuke's eyes narrowed slightly, and he gave a small, barely noticeable nod before moving over to Hinata. Hinata, don't use your Byakugan, he whispered so quietly that not even Kakashi would be able to hear them. We have a tail, and we don't want to spook them. Understood, Hinata whispered back. Sasuke was shocked to have seen her turn so serious, not all her usual shy self. No, he did see that she was the same, but she forced those traits back through sheer force of will. She looked at Tazuna. Tazuna? What? You are from Wave Country, right? What about it? Do you have a ninja village? It was Kakashi who answered. No, not in Wave Country. Most other countries have them, but Wave Country is a bit too small for it. Hey, don't worry though. There won't be any ninja combats in C rank missions. Sasuke pushed chakra into his eyes as they passed the puddle in the road. then turned to look at Naruto, who nodded back at him. As they kept walking, Kakashi bringing up the rear. Suddenly, a ninja with a horn Kiri headband came flying over Kakashi, a bladed chain connected to his clawed gauntlet. He landed between Kakashi and the Genin and Tazuna as the chain wrapped around the Jonin, tightening. Behind Kakashi stood another Kiri ninja with an identical gauntlet in his hand, which the chain was connected to. "What?" Kakashi uttered as the two ninjas both said, "One down," and pulled the chain. Kakashi was torn to pieces by the chain, making Tazuna go wide-eyed, along with Hinata. Sasuke, Sharingan burning in his eyes, one Tomoe in the left and two in the right, looked at her. "Hinata, protect Tazuna," he ordered, while Naruto was already flashing through hand seals. "Earth element, earth dragon projectile," Naruto called out as a dragon head made of earth rose from the ground and turned to one of the Kiri ninjas, opening its mouth and spitting high-velocity mud projectiles at him. The ninja jumped, while Sasuke also flashed through seals. "Fire style, fireball jutsu," he called, spewing a massive ball of flame at the other ninja, who dodged, yanking the chain connecting the two, and in doing so pulling him out of the mud projectile. The fireball engulfed the chain, instantly melting it and separating the two ninja, who split off, circling Naruto and Sasuke to head for Tazuna, which caused Hinata to stand protectively in front of him. "Earth element, earth wall," Naruto called out after flashing through another chain of seals, slamming his hands down on the ground. One of the ninjas who was coming at Tazuna from behind suddenly found himself stopped rather abruptly as he ran straight into the earth wall that shot up in front of him. As soon as his head bounced off the wall, Naruto put his hand in a snake seal. "Wood element, cutting technique," Naruto called out as wooden blades sprouted from his hand. He spun and flung the blade at the dazed Kiri ninja, piercing him in the shoulder. "Gotcha," Naruto proclaimed triumphantly, putting his hand in a half-ram seal and focusing his chakra. "Grow." The Kiri ninja's eyes widened when the wood inside his body suddenly sprouted 5 thick spikes that extended to burst out of his body in a shower of blood, piercing many vital organs in the process. Naruto's eyes widened at seeing an actual person be hit by that jutsu. Up until now, all that he had practiced on was straw practice dummies. There was so much red. "Well done, Naruto," came Kakashi's voice, making him look toward Tazuna to see that Sasuke had moved to stand protectively in front of Hinata and Kakashi was standing in front of him, holding the other Kiri ninja in a headlock. "You guys reacted much better than I believed you would." Kakashi made to turn to Tazuna, but he stopped and looked at Naruto, noticing that the blonde's hands were shaking slightly. Well, it's expected. It was his first toaster bath, Kakashi thought, his gaze softening. But to do it at that age, I'll have to talk to him about it later. Kakashi turned to Tazuna and gave him a very serious look. Tazuna visibly flinched. "Yes? I need to talk to you." Within moments, the Kiri ninja had been tied to a tree, and judging from the fact that he was glaring daggers at Naruto, he was awake. This guy is a Jonin ninja, one of the demon brothers of Kirigakure no Sato. They're ninjas known to keep fighting no matter what. How did you read our movements?" the demon brother asked Kakashi. "Not even your genin were taken by surprise." "On a sunny day like this, when it hasn't rained in days, a water puddle shouldn't exist," Kakashi said simply. "Besides, Naruto is a very accomplished censor. He no doubt detected you from the moment you started following us and alerted his teammates." "Why'd you let the brats fight when you knew that?" Tazuna asked. "If I wanted to, I could have forcefully toaster bath these two in an instant, but there was something I needed to find out. Who the target was." "What do you mean?" Tazuna asked. "Meaning, were they after you or one of us? We haven't heard that our ninjas after you. Our mission was simply to protect you from thieves or gangs," Kakashi said, narrowing his eye at Tazuna. "This has now become at least a B-rank mission. This was supposed to be a simple protection until you completed the bridge." Tazuna was quiet and a sweat drop was visible rolling down his temple. If it was known that ninjas were after you, this mission would have been an expensive B rank. I'm sure you have a reason, but it causes problems when you lie about the mission details. We're now operating outside of our duties. Are we ready for this type of mission? Hinata asked, gulping. I suppose that at this point, it would be customary for us to abandon the mission, Kakashi said slowly, nodding more to himself than to the others. Sensei, Tazuna spoke up suddenly, catching Kakashi's attention. I have to talk to you. It's about the mission. You're right, this job is most likely outside of your duties. It turns out that a super dangerous man is after my life. Super dangerous man, Kakashi repeated, raising his only visible eyebrow. Who? You've probably at least heard his name before, Tazuna said quietly. The wealthy shipping magnate. A man named Gato. Huh? Gato? From the Gato Company? Kakashi asked, his eye widening in surprise. He's said to be one of the world's few extremely wealthy people. Yes. Officially, he runs a large shipping company, Tazuna said with a nod. But secretly, he sells, not very good things. Using ninja and gang members to take over businesses and countries. He's a super nasty man. It was about a year ago when he set his eyes on the Wave Country. Through money and violence, he quickly took control of the country's shipping industry. Gato now has a monopoly on all business traffic in the country. The only thing he has to fear now is the completion of the bridge. And because you're building the bridge to the mainland, he won't have a monopoly anymore, Hinata included, to which Tazuna nodded. So, those ninjas were hired by Gato, Sasuke asked, and Tazuna nodded. But what I don't understand is, if you knew ninja would be after you, why'd you hide that fact when you hired us? Kakashi wanted to know. Tazuna sighed. The Wave Country is super poor. Even the daimyo has no money. Of course we don't have much money either. Not enough for the expensive B rank mission. Well, if you quit the mission now, I'll definitely be forcefully toaster bath. But don't worry about it, Tazuna said with a bright smile on his face. If I get forcefully toaster bathed, my cute 10-year-old grandson will just cry for a few days. Oh yeah, and my daughter will live a sad, sad life, hating Konoha Ninja forever. But it won't be your fault, not at all. Kakashi twitched at that, scratching the plate on his headband. Then he sighed and smiled at Tazuna, saying, Well, I guess we have no choice. We'll protect you, at least until you get back to your country. Tazuna smiled and thanked them profusely, but they could all see the victorious glint in his eyes. They set off, Kakashi in the front, Hinata and Tazuna in the middle, and Naruto and Sasuke bringing up the rear. Hey, Sasuke said softly, looking at Naruto's hands. You're shaking. Still a bit shocked, I guess, Naruto mumbled, taking deep breaths. It's not like I've actually forcefully toaster bathed the man before. It was you, or him, Sasuke said simply. Don't beat yourself up about it. Well, I know that, but my body doesn't seem to want to listen. It's not good to be shaking, especially now that we know that enemies are going to attack. Give me a minute and I'll be fine, Naruto said, a small grin on his face. The group managed to make their way into Wave Country without encountering any more enemies. However, Naruto, Sasuke, and Hinata were always on alert, their senses sharp, and as Naruto had said, his shaking had stopped, and he was ready for anything. If we're attacked again, it'll probably be a Jonin since the two Chunin were defeated, Naruto stated as they walked, to which Kakashi nodded. Without a doubt. Naruto perked up, and in a flash, he fished out a kunai hurling into a bush, making the others jump, save for Kakashi, who must have sensed it as well. Naruto, Sasuke asked, tense. Hashirama, huh? Naruto muttered, lowering his hand. His eye closed, and he stretched out his senses. Everyone get down, Kakashi ordered suddenly, ducking as Naruto detected the presence. Naruto grabbed Hinata and dropped, while Sasuke tackled Tazuna to the ground. A giant sword came flying through the air, passing through the space where the Genin next would have been, before embedding itself into a tree, at which point a ninja landed on the hilt of the massive Zanbatu. The man wore striped pants, camo pattern leg and arm warmers, and bandages wrapped around the lower half of his face. Tied sideways to his head was a Kiri headband. Well, well, Kakashi uttered as they all got to their feet. If it isn't the massively overcompensating missing nin, Momochi Zabuza. He didn't say that, but he should have. Naruto, Sasuke uttered as Naruto narrowed his eyes. Be careful, guys. This guy's got as much chakra as I do, and it's dark. Very dark, Naruto muttered. Hinata formed a few hand seals, then called Byakugan. Veins were visible around her eyes as her dojutsu activated, and her eyes widened when she looked at Zabuza. He's right. This chakra. Sasuke, curious, activated his Sharingan and looked at Zabuza, his eyes widening as well. No, it's only little, but his chakra stores are larger than yours, Naruto. Huh, Zabuza spoke, turning around so that he was facing them. He lowered himself into a crouch, resting his elbows on his knees as he watched them. Sharingan, Byakugan, and a skilled sensor. Not to mention Sharingan Kakashi. No wonder why the Demon Brothers lost. Sorry, but the old man is mine. Sharingan, Naruto and Sasuke uttered in unison. Amazed, Kakashi reached for his headband. Amazed as Kakashi reached for his headband. Surround it and protect Tazuna, Kakashi ordered. Do not enter the fight. That's the teamwork here. Zabuza first. Kakashi slowly lifted his headband to reveal his left eye, which had a scar through it, and it was a Sharingan. Fight me. I already get to see the famous Sharingan. I'm honored, Zabuza said, and it was evident that he was smirking behind his bandages. When I was in the Kirigakure Anbu, I kept a handbook. It included information about you. It said, the man who has copied over 1,000 jutsu. Copycat ninja Kakashi. Oi, Sasuke, Naruto muttered. I thought the Sharingan was an Uchiha bloodline. Why the heck does he have it? No idea, Sasuke said, narrowing his own pair of Sharingan eyes. But I intend to find out. Let's end all the talking, Zabuza said, as he reached down, grabbing the hilt of the sword he was standing on. I have to forcefully toaster that man immediately. The three Genin moved to stand protectively around Tazuna, ready for anything. But Kakashi, it seems I have to beat you first. Zabuza kicked off the tree, yanking his sword out as he flew towards the lake in front of them, landing on it. He released a large amount of chakra, causing the water to start swirling around him. Ninja art. Hidden mist technique, Zabuza muttered as a thick mist rolled in, causing him to disappear from view. He'll come after me first, Kakashi announced. Momochi Zabuza. As a ninja of Kiri, he was known as an expert in silent, forcefully toaster bathing. You don't even notice it until you're already in the bath. It's not like I can use the Sharingan perfectly. You guys be careful. Suddenly, the mist got even thicker, and Zabuza's voice was heard coming from all around them. 8 choices. Larynx, spine, lungs, liver, jugular, subclavian, artery, kidneys, heart. Which one should I go bathe first? Both Kakashi and Zabuza started flooding the area with angriness. It was so much that Naruto felt every single muscle in his body tense and he couldn't help but shiver slightly. He turned his head to look at Hinata to see that her Byakugan was fading, and her entire body was shaking. She was visibly sweating in fright. "Hinata," Naruto spoke suddenly, catching her attention. He smiled when she looked at him. "Stay strong. This is what he wants, so keep your guard up." "Sasuke," Kakashi spoke suddenly, and Naruto turned his head to see that Sasuke had been shaking as well. "Don't worry, I'll protect you guys with my life," their sensei said as he turned his head to smile at them. "I don't let my comrades get toaster bathed." "We'll see about that," came Zabuza's voice from between Tazuna and the Genin. "It's over." Zabuza wasn't fast enough. However, in a flash, Sasuke's Chokuto had been unsheathed, and he spun faster than Naruto had ever seen him move. The blade flashed, and Zabuza's head was suddenly separated from his body, his eyes wide. The body and the head, however, exploded in a shower of water, and Naruto's eyes widened when he picked up on Zabuza's chakra. "Sensei, behind you!" he called out, but too late, as Zabuza's massive... so we're calling it a sword now, had already cut Kakashi in half, only for Kakashi's body to disperse into the water as well. Another Kakashi appearing behind Zabuza with a toaster at his bath. "Don't move," Kakashi ordered. "It's over," Naruto thought, gritting his teeth. His staying mist is covered in his chakra. I can hardly even sense Kakashi through it, he thought, then looked at Hinata. "Oi, Hinata, can you see anything?" "No, Naruto. There's too much chakra in the air." "Same here," Sasuke muttered, then his eyes widened when Zabuza spoke to Kakashi. "Behind you, sensei." Kakashi's eyes widened when yet another Zabuza appeared behind Kakashi, the Zabuza in front of him dissolving into water. He ducked under quote-unquote sword, but Zabuza didn't even pause when his sword dug into... we're calling it the ground now, okay. Instead he spun, switching his grip, and booted Kakashi in the face, sending him flying through the air. Zabuza immediately pulled his sword out of the ground and ran off, jumping towards the spot where Kakashi splashed into the water. As Kakashi surfaced, Zabuza landed behind him and flashed through hand seals. "Water prison technique," he announced, as the water shot up to envelop Kakashi in a ball, Zabuza holding his hand in it to keep it going. "You tried to escape the water. Big mistake. Now I have you in an escapable prison," Zabuza said, chuckling. "It's tougher if you can't move, you know. Now, Kakashi, we can finish things later. First, I'll take care of them," he said as he put his hands in a half-ram seal. Out of the water rose a water clone, who walked onto the shore, chuckling softly. "Wearing those headbands and acting like ninja," the clone said, smirking behind his bandages. "A real ninja is someone who has survived numerous brushes with the toaster bath. Only when you're good enough to be listed in my handbook can you start calling yourself a ninja. You're not ninja, just brats." "Take Tazuna and run," Kakashi yelled suddenly. "You have no chance of beating him. As long as he's keeping me trapped in the prison, he can't move. The water clone can't go very far from his real body. Just run away now." Naruto slowly turned his head to look at Sasuke, who smirked and nodded. Then he looked to Hinata, who gulped but steeled herself, nonetheless nodding as well. "Run away, sensei. You underestimate us," Naruto said, a grin spreading on his face. "A water clone only possesses 1/10 of the original's power. Do you think we're that weak? Besides, the success of this fight depends on you," Sasuke said. "If we run away now, Zabuza will just find us and toaster bath us later. Besides, those who abandoned their comrades are even worse than scum. Remember?" "Tazuna," Naruto said, ignoring Kakashi's wide-eyed look, instead of looking to the old man who sighed. "Well, I planted the seed Whoa! Well, I planted this seed myself. I'm not gonna say that I desire to lift so much that I'd stop you. I'm sorry, guys. Fight as much as you want. Zabuza's clone, however, just started laughing, grinning slightly. You guys will never grow up. I mean, if they get toaster bathed here, I can see why he's thinking that they're not gonna grow up. Kinda keep playing ninja, huh? When I was your age, these hands were already dyed red with toaster bath water. So? Naruto asked, raising an eyebrow. What? That makes you a ninja? That just makes you a toaster bather, you eyebrowless freak, he exclaimed, raising his hand to point at Zabuza. Don't talk as if you know us. Talking trash is for when the battle's over. Sasuke, combo 27? Right, Sasuke said as they both started flashing through hand seals. Naruto ended in a snake seal, and a wooden pole shot out of the ground in front of Sasuke, heading past the Zabuza clone and then curving around him, intending on wrapping around him. The clone, despite the shock at seeing a wood-style jutsu being used, leapt into the air to avoid it, which was a mistake, as the wood shot upward and wrapped around him, trapping him, just as Sasuke finished his hand seal. Naruto Sasuke combo technique, they both announced, Naruto grinning and Sasuke blowing a stream of flame at the wood, which shot up along it to encase the entire wooden pole and the Zabuza clone in flames. Grilled meat. The flames burned so hot that when the clone died, the water didn't drop to the ground, instead turning into steam and rising into the air. Huh, the real Zabuza uttered in amazement. Wood style, huh? That wasn't expected. However, he put his hand in another half ram seal, and 10 more water clones rose from the water, walking onto the shore. Sasuke, you can do it, right? Naruto asked his friend, who immediately knew what he was referring to, and nodded, unsheathing his chokuto again. Good. Our clear path. Go. Sasuke shot off towards the clone, who all raised their swords and made them attack. Wood spikes shooting from the ground, forcing them to dodge, however, allowing Sasuke to pass through unscathed. He shot towards the real Zabuza, cocking his arms back, then swung. Zabuza, however, ducked under the swing, but Sasuke wasn't done, spinning and throwing a kunai at Zabuza's head, which forced him to dodge out of the way, pulling his hand off the water prison in the process. The clones, seeing this, made to go after Sasuke, but that provided enough of a distraction for Naruto to focus his chakra into the ground and cause more wooden spikes to shoot out of it, impaling and destroying the clones. You brat, Zabuza yelled at Sasuke, reaching up to grab the sword on his back, only for Kakashi's sandal to plant itself into his face, knocking him back. Your opponent is me, Kakashi said, his Sharingan narrowed dangerously. Zabuza bounced on the water, landing in a crouch and rising to a stand. I got distracted and released the jutsu. Wrong, Kakashi said. You were forced to release it, he corrected, which made Zabuza twitch. Naruto, Sasuke, good job. Don't worry though, I'll take it from here. Zabuza looked like he was gritting his teeth as Sasuke nodded and sheathed his chokuto, running past Kakashi and back to Naruto, Hinata, and Tazuna, whereupon he gave Naruto a high five. I'll tell you now, I don't fall for the same jutsu twice, Kakashi said, staring calmly at Zabuza. What will you do now? Zabuza uttered and leapt back, before starting a long chain of seals which were perfectly mimicked by Kakashi. Water element. Water dragon projectile technique. They both called out in a perfect unison as two dragons formed out of the water between them and charged at each other, crashing into the other and exploding. That many seals and he copied them flawlessly, Naruto muttered, bracing himself as the water washed up on the shore and crashed into them. He turned to look at Sasuke. Can you do that? Not at this stage of the Sharingan. No, Sasuke said, shaking his head as he saw the two joining clash right underneath where the two water dragons had crashed into each other, Kakashi blocking Zabuza's sword with a kunai. Strange, Zabuza thought, narrowing his eyes as he stared into the Sharingan. What's going on? He pushed off and jumped back, Kakashi mimicking his actions perfectly as he tried circling him, then stopped and raised his hands to perform the Kirigakure Jutsu. My movements, Zabuza thought as he lowered one of his hands, Kakashi doing the same. He's completely reading them, Kakashi finished his line of thought, making his eyes widen. What? Did he read my mind? Zabuza thought, feeling sweat breaking out of his forehead, placing his hand on a seal. Dang it. Freaky eye thing is making me very upset right now. Zabuza twitched. All you're doing is copying me. You can't beat me, you monkey bastard. Wait a minute, is that... It's not okay to say. Both Kakashi and Zabuza exclaimed at once, and that really made Zabuza's eyes widen. Dang you, I'll make it so you can never open that mouth again. Whoa! Whoa! Pause. Zabuza needs to chill. Zabuza growled out, flashing through hand seals. He stopped, however, amazed as he saw himself form behind Kakashi. That's me. That's not possible. Is this one of his genjutsu? Kakashi, to his surprise, finished a chain of seals Zabuza had been doing and called out, Water element. Grand waterfall technique. As his Sharingan started spinning and the water in front of him came to life and rose up, rushing at Zabuza. What? Impossible! Zabuza roared as the water smashed into him, sending him through a large amount of trees with the force of it. I'm the one doing the jutsu, yet I can't keep up, he thought in a panic, right before getting washed into a tree, after which his arms and legs were pierced by kunai. It's over, came Kakashi's voice from above, making him look to see Kakashi crouching on a tree branch. How can you see the future? Zabuza asked, still in shock. Yeah, I can see the future, and your future is the toaster bath, Kakashi proclaimed, raising a kunai. Before he could use it, however, two senbon needles came flying out of nowhere and pierced Zabuza's neck. Zabuza's eyes were wide as he collapsed to the ground, and everyone looked up to another tree to see a kid around the Genin's age, wearing a mask that looked almost like an Anbu mask, which had the Kiri markings on the forehead. Yeah, right. You're right. He's dead, the boy spoke in a very feminine voice, which matched his feminine body. Who's the gender-confused mask boy? Naruto asked loudly. Dang. Y'all gonna need to cancel Naruto after this one. Naruto asked loudly, displaying his usual tact as Kakashi jumped down to the Zabuza's body, checking his pulse. Thank you very much, the masked ninja said, bowing. I've been searching for the opportunity to toaster bath Zabuza for such a long time. Bro, my boy is goated. The mask, Kakashi said, looking up at him. You're a Kiri Hunter Nin. Hunter Nin, Hinata repeated in confusion, looking to her teammates for explanations. Hunter Nins are special divisions of Anbu, Sasuke exclaimed. Their duty is to hunt down and forcefully toaster bath missing nin. To get a rank like that at your age. There's some great ninjas out there, huh? Naruto asked, a grin on his face. It'd be nice to fight him. The hunter nin jumped down and slung Zabuza's arm over his shoulder, picking him up. Your battle's now over, and I must dispose of this body since it seems to be a body with many secrets, he said, putting his hand in a half-rim seal. Farewell. The wind started kicking up around him, so fast that it was howling, and then in a blink of an eye, he and Zabuza's body were gone. Kakashi breathed a sigh of relief, pulling down on his headband to cover his Sharingan, and Sasuke and Hinata deactivated their own eyes. Now we have to get Tazuna home, Kakashi announced to his genin. Let's go. Super thanks, guys, Tazuna said brightly. Come over to my house and relax for a while. Just as he said that, Kakashi suddenly froze and tipped forward, unable to move. Ah, I was wondering when that would happen, Naruto said, unsurprised as he walked up to Kakashi, crouching down in front of him. Your chakra stores are lower than mine, and you're using a transplanted eye. That should drain you pretty quickly, huh? Sasuke, give me a hand here. Why? Too weak to carry him yourself? Shut your face and give me a hand. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. It was slightly late, you could say. That is an argument you could make. My apologies for that. I'm trying to be more consistent. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in the next part.